So we've been hearing rumors for quite a while that WWE is going to be doing some kind of new Nation of Domination or something. I don't think a lot of people paid attention to it until after a tag match where the losing team of Kofi, Kingston, and Big E were persuaded, I guess you could say, by Xavier Woods, who has had really nothing going on in his WWE career, and now he came out as Brother Love, and we don't really have a lot going. You know, this is certainly a tease. Like, we don't know if this is going to be a bad guy group, although it certainly seems like it based on how he spoke. So the only real thing I can ask is for immediate reaction. So let's take it to you, Mr. Canadian Healthcare.
Well, first of all, it's not Brother Love. It's Malcolm X Xavier Woods. And second of all, I mean, why not? These guys are doing nothing. Might as well put them together and hopefully they get momentum. So assuming we have Big E and Kofi, who else do you think's going to be in the Nation?
That is a good question. I think some other potentials, because what I think we saw on Raw was sort of planting the seeds, and I don't think it's just going to be a three-man group. So right now it looks like it's Xavier Woods, Kofi, and Big E. But I think some other potentials are definitely Titus O'Neil.
That's
and
the one.
Maybe a diva. Maybe Cameron, Alicia Fox, Naomi have potential. And I don't know if they're going to call it the Nation, and I kind of hope they don't. But what do you think of Xavier Woods in this role and not being so he's taking less of his fun side and actually maybe ramping up his education side and more serious side?
I think it's really interesting. However, I just want to make a quick note. I mean, we are sort of assuming that this is a Nation of Domination 2.0 or whatever they choose to call it. We don't know. The reason that we primarily bring up African-American wrestlers is because, I mean, right now WWE seems to be doing more stereotype stuff. You know, we have Lana, we have Rusev, and I mean, realistically, this seems to be the route they're going. These are three guys that have not done a lot, and going into that Xavier Woods thing, I think we all love the fact that he's, you know, a gamer. You know, he posts on Twitter all the stuff he plays. He seems like an awesome guy. But let's be honest, was that gimmick going to get him, you know, into the top? I don't think so. And I think that this gives us a really good opportunity to sort of just see what's he capable of. You know, can he get people to hate him? I think that's the biggest issue right now, because otherwise, I think this is I don't want this to be 3MB, where it's like, oh, this is the new thing. 2 months later, oh, what? Oh, they're just jobbers.
Well, exactly, and I feel like someone like Titus O'Neil would be a great addition too. I mean, he can, like, him and Big E, like, that's, you know, two hell of muscles right there for the group. And Kofi, this could be a heel turn for Kofi Kingston, which is something a lot of people thought would never ever happen.
Yep.
I mean,
I don't
it's a
think
little
it
too
has
early.
it yet?
No,
Has Kofi been a face his whole
I'm pretty
run?
sure.
Yeah, he's always been a face. He's actually, fact, go on YouTube. He has been heel in one of his independent runs, but never in WWE.
And one name that might get tossed around because he was involved in the Nation is Mark Henry. But I feel like Henry would just kind of outshine the group. I like it much better if it's a lot of young, new talent. And I feel like Henry is just, he's too high profile for this in the way that I feel like he would kind of take away the spotlight. But maybe it would be good to have a veteran in there. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I actually do think having Mark Henry would be interesting, maybe at the beginning, and then even maybe turn on him, because I think that Bully Ray, I always bring up this shoot interview, he says to put talent over, they got to go over the veterans. So I think that maybe they should actually, like, completely make reference to the old Nation of Domination, even talking about the fact that, you know, after the Nation, The Rock became a success, so they want to follow that same path. They could go so many routes with what the Nation of Domination did, so that's why they recruit Mark Henry, who can be hated and then loved in the same segment as we've seen in the past because of what he does. So imagine they recruit him, and instead of him, he's sort of like an advisor, but then they just turn on him, getting that heat, and then maybe we can have like a new breed type thing, like, you know, young blood versus new blood.
Oh,
I mean, young blood
you
versus
did
old
not
blood
just
or something.
bring up the new breed.
Yes,
Ugh,
yes, I did, sir. I'm
That's
sorry.
so gross. Ugh. But when Mark Henry's a heel, like back in the Hall of Pain days, He was a super credible, like, big guy that could really do some damage. If he can be both that and the link between the old nation and the new nation, and then they could go over him and give it credibility. It's kind of like a perfect scenario.
I mean, I do like what Juan pointed out about maybe teasing that he's going to join and then using him to actually get heat. But I think we can all agree either way. If they are going to call this a Nation of Domination, then Mark Henry has to be involved in some way, because obviously he's the only one on the active roster that's still that was from the Nation of Domination. So he needs to do something, whether it's just show up and tell them this isn't the way to go or whatever. It'd be good to see him involved.
So, question, we keep mentioning Nation of Domination, Nation of Domination. What if it's not? What do you see this being? Like, do you think that this stable is going to be based on just achieving success or making a change? Like the Nexus, Nexus and the Shield were sort of different. The Shield were there to sort of bring things back, justice, while the Nexus was there to change things up.
I think this would be seen as these are a group of guys that feel like they're being held down and just, like most of them been just fed to Rusev for, the past few months and just not given opportunities. And I mean, they can use the whole argument that there's never been, a full black WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So they have a lot of fuel in the fire. I mean, in the fact that WWE just, perpetuates stereotypes. They have so much they can work with.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember a few months ago when they were kind of doing a stable with Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, and Damian Sandow about how they were like the guys that are being held down that deserve so much better than what they have? That's totally what this new group could be, and that's what I see it as.
Yeah, so maybe we'll see new people be recruited, but I think that these are the three primary guys, and I think it's a very nice balance, because with Kofi, you get a guy that's been in WWE for years, has almost been up there, when he took on guys like Randy Orton, and Becky, who's been both good guy and bad guy, nothing's really worked, and then you have the new up-and-comer, that maybe he's like the know-it-all, like he has the solution, and he has the PhD to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, if it is just the three of them, I mean, it does work because Kofi is actually the veteran here. Xavier Woods is the good mouthpiece, and then you got Big E as the muscle. So you do have a really good trifecta. So even if it is just these three, I like it.
Exactly. So slowly but surely, I just really hope that whatever it is they do, please don't 3MB it up. I beg you.